Hi, Year 5, it's Miss D. For maths this week, we're doing money, so I thought this might be a good video just to help you as a little extra in case you think you need some review there. So I have in front of me all of my coin teaching materials. So I'm going to keep the camera there and I will try to show you everything. We're just going to go through what makes what, because we know money is super important. That's kind of the first point of this. Money is really, really important. Use it every day. I'm sure your parents or guardians have handled it. I'm sure probably some of you have handled it. So it's really important to know what that's about. So these are my extra coins here, and I have some extra bills off to the side here. So there we go. Now, I have coins and I have notes, and those are the things that make up money, basically. So let's go through our pence first, because pence are our coins. So first up, I have my, I have my 1 pence coin, and my 1 pence coin, let me get it on the camera there. That can also be called a penny. And this is the lowest amount of money that you can hold in your hand. So that's the lowest amount. These aren't real, of course. They're just teaching ones. But there you go. That's the lowest coin and lowest amount of money you can have. It's 1 pence. And remember the color, because that's kind of important. I'll talk about that later. Next up, I have my 2 pence. Kind of that same color as the 1 pence, and it's still quite low in terms of money that you can actually hold in your hand. So that's kind of important too, I think. Let's see, this 2 pence. We take a good look. Some of the newer coins might have those designs on it, and that's a little lion. There you go. Yeah, so that's 2 pence. So I have 1 pence, I have 2 pence. Next up, I have 5 pence. My 5 pence, oh, look at that. It changed color. It changed material. It went from, and I'm going to double check my notes because they changed this recently, Year 5, so I don't want to get it wrong. But the 2 pence coin was originally bronze, but they've started to make it copper-plated steel. Just it's a bit cheaper that way, you know. And then our other coins, as you go farther up there, were originally minted, which means created from nickel, but it's been made recently with nickel-plated steel there. So I just had to double check, if you'll indulge me. So like I was saying, we had our 5 pence coin. So that's 3 coins so far. And the one after that, I have my 10 pence coin. And again, it has that sign on it. How many 10s does it take to make 100? Yeah, 10 times 10 equals 100. It's hard to say 100 with my hands, but you know what I'm saying. Because remember, all of these pence can be added up to make a pound. So after my 10 pence, I have my 20 pence. My 20 pence is interesting because the shape changes a little bit, but still that material. Remember, 20 pence to make a pound, it would be 2 times 5 equals 10. So 20 times 5 equals 100 pence, which is a pound. So you would need 20 of these to make a pound. Next up, I have my 50 pence. And it's still that different material, but this one's interesting because how many sides does it have? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sides for this coin, which I always thought was pretty interesting. It's called a heptagon. H-E-P-tagon. Heptagon, 7 sides. Your 50p. And next up, I have my 1 pound. Now, it's been interesting because they changed it recently, so it might look a bit different in the last few years. So you might see some of these floating around, which is still 1 pound. and it's a different material now, so we moved away from that copper and nickel. But more often nowadays, you'll see it as this, so it has those two colors for the 1 pound, and a 1 pound is made up of 100 pence. And last but not least for my coins, we have our 2 pence coin. So that's what our 2 pound coin. That's what our 2 pound coin looks like. So it still has those 2 different colors in it, those 2 different materials. And this is the highest coin amount of money that I can hold in my hand. It takes 200 pounds, 200 pence, 200 pennies, 200 of these, make one of those. There we go. So those are my coins. Next up, I have my notes. And the important thing about notes is that there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 different types of notes. The fun thing about notes, and I think is pretty fun, is that as the size increases for the notes, so does the amount of money that it represents. So that's a good way to think about it. So if we start with our 5 pound note, we have the queen on there. It shows us 5 pounds really nicely. It's usually a green or a bluish, greeny type of color there. So that's our 5 pound, and that's the smallest note with the value that we can have there. So we have our 5 pounds. Then we have our 10 pounds. So again, it still has the queen on it. Still has those numbers, but this shows 10 pounds. So this is paper. This note is a little bit bigger than the 5 pound note. That's our 10 pounds. Then we have our 20 pounds. And this one is more of a purple color. It has the queen, it has the number. And this is the third of our 4 notes that we can have. And it's almost the biggest one, but not quite, because the largest sized one is our 50 pound note. Imagine if this was real. This is just a teaching. Imagine if this was real. All the things you could buy with that. Still has our queen. Still has the money value up there. And this is the biggest note that you can have, both in size and in terms of value, which means how much pounds is associated with it. So, when we are looking at money, we have pounds, which can be notes or coins. Those are our pounds. And we have pence. And the way to write this is separated by a, let's see if you can see it, decimal point. So that is how we separate our pounds and our pence. Let's count up how much money I have just from my examples here. And I can always write it down so I can keep track, and that's a good idea that you can use when you're using money as well here. So let's see here. I have, start with my notes. I have 50 pounds, so I'm writing 50, and it's separated by a decimal point there, but it's still 50. It has 2 zeros on the end because that's how the pence would look. So I have 50 pounds and 0 pence. That's this one. Plus 20 pounds. Plus 10. Plus 5. I'll add my notes together first. Now, there's something interesting about how I set that up, though, because as you can see, as soon as I get it zoomed in here, I didn't line it up so that way all the numbers matched on the left side. I lined it up so that way the decimal points lined up. Because you've worked with decimals before, so you know how important it is to line up our decimals there. And then we have our zeros at the end there to represent the pence. And of course we have our pound signs written in there, so I'm going to add that up. I know 50 plus 20 is 70, plus 10 is 80, plus 5 is 85. So I could just do that in my head. Good mental math there. Be good for fast 10. So I'm going to do my pound sign. And then 85 pounds. So just from my notes, I already have 85 pounds. Imagine if that was real money. Ooh, I would buy, I don't know what I'd buy. I'd go to Poundland. You could buy 85 things from Poundland. Imagine that. So moving on to my coins here. I have lots of different coins. I think I'll start with my bigger coins, because those, as we know, if we kind of set up our addition, subtraction, it's always a bit easier if we add up the bigger ones on the top. So I have a 2 pound, which I would represent by 2 decimal 0 0 and the pound sign, so that's my 2 pounds, so that's done. I have a 1 pound, so I would put my pound symbol, then a 1 decimal 0 0. That's my 1 pound gone. And I'm going on to pence. So my largest pence would be the 50 pence. So I would represent that on a decimal, and I'll show you this when I turn it around after, as my pound symbol and 0.50, because it's not quite enough to make a full pound, so you have to use your decimals for that one. And then I have my, let me see here. Yep, I have my 20 pence next. That's the next biggest. So same idea with the decimal, writing 20 pence. There's a different way to write pence though, and I think I'll do that underneath just to show you what it would look like when you're doing your work. So I had my 2 pounds, 1 pound, my 50 pence, my 20 pence. Next up, I have my 10 pence. So I'll add that one up. I'm going to do this one differently. And I don't really suggest you do this when you're adding them all up, because it's easier to get confused unless you have a decimal point the whole way down. So I'll just write it there as an option. But I think the actual way I'm going to do this with my decimals, because that's really important, and then I will show you my option on the side there afterwards. So next up, I'm adding 5 pence to that. I'll do my pound symbol and my decimal. Now my decimal though, it's not going to be 0.5, because that's the same as 50 pence. It's going to be 0.0. Then I have my 2 pence and my 1 pence. And I will put those in really quickly. Now, if you look at this, this is a big equation. So you can tell I have all my pound symbols there. I have all my decimals lined up. My top two are my 2 pound and 1 pound, so that's why there's a number on the pound sign, or the pound side of my decimal, and nothing on the pence side. But then as I go down to my pence, which starts at the 0.50, there's not enough to make a pound, so there's a 0 on that side, but then there's pence on this side. You can tell how it goes down to 0.05, 0.02, 0.01. It's 5 pence, 2 pence, 1 pence. And you can tell the other way I wrote my 0.10 pounds, it would be as 10p or 10 pence. So I'm going to add that up really quickly. Same thing for addition, even if you have a decimal in there. Same thing for subtraction as well. So you always start on the right column. So I have all those zeros, a 5, a 2, and a 1, which would be an 8. Then I have all these zeros, a 5, a 2, and a 1 again, which would be an 8. I have to put my decimal. Always need to carry down the decimal. And then I have 2 plus 1 would equal 3 pounds there. So, as of right now, after I add my pound symbol, I have 85 pounds worth of notes and 3 pounds and 88 pence worth of coins. I want to know my total though, so I'm going to add these ones up underneath and we'll find out our total. So remember, I have to put my pound symbol, have to put my numbers with the decimal point. That's very important. That has to line up. And again, you will notice that when I was setting it up, I didn't line up the numbers on this side. I lined up my decimal points. That's the most important thing. So let's see if we can do it together here. Let's see if I can do it upside down. So 0 plus 8 is 8. 0 plus 8 is 8. I have to bring down my decimal. 5 plus 3 is 8. And I bring my 8 down, which is 8. So I have, I can't do my pound symbol upside down though, I'm not that great. Sorry. So I have 88 pounds and 88 pence total. And I think I'll write that right at the top here. Not too bad for upside down. So there you go. Whew. Like I was saying, year 5's money is really great and it's really easy. We use it every day. It's super important. So I hope that just kind of helped you with some visuals, some manipulatives about different ways that you can use it and how you need to line it up with the decimal for the 4 operations when you use it in this week's work. So I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much and have a great week with your money questions. Bye.